think I might have something that could help. Let me get out my bag of satchel tricks.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to give the intro. So this is my testimony, episode 10. I'm going to give you a little back end of the story here. I am driving to California so that I can sit down with 10 people and get their stories. And on the way out here, well, a week earlier, I called up people in Denver, spoke to Ian. He let me kindly stay at his place. Thank you, Ian. And then hit up Charles.
You can call it. You say
CJ?
it. You say it.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Hit up my buddy CJ, who I've known for legitimately ever. Nearly.
Damn near, yeah.
Yeah. And he said, yeah, definitely swing by and let's have a talk. So my name is Sam. This is my testimony. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Subscribe, ring the bell. Do all that good stuff, whatever, blah, 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 comment below.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and dive into it.
Just jumping in.
Yeah. Who is your God?
Who is my God?
Who's your God?
Gosh. Wow. That's jumping in, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be sipping on this tea.
Okay, that's fine. Well, my God isn't... I don't think it has a name, really. I don't think my God has a name now. I know that we grew up, like, when Kanakuk and grew up in, like, religious families and those contexts of things. However, I feel like when I was younger, I was about 16, that's when I moved away and went to a different high school.
Yeah, Staley.
That
hurt me so bad.
I know.
It was right when we were becoming
fun,
good
but
friends.
it was really fun, but I was also really sad that when I left as well.
Yeah.
I started getting more into theology and reading a lot of like different kinds of like religions.
Yeah, I remember you being
really
like Buddhism or something.
Just dipping my toes. Yeah, dipped my toes in a bunch of other different things. I never really followed into anything too hard.
Yeah.
And I would have to say that like I really vibed well with having this feeling that there is something after, something that's more than me, something that's more than human. Something on the spiritual level.
Yeah, something bigger than you.
Something bigger than me. Something that helps to shape and create everything that it is. Mm-hmm. But doesn't necessarily tell me and know exactly where I'm going. It gives me that choice to do what I want, right?
Yeah.
So my nameless God is maybe is more than one. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know if there's more than one or if it's just one. But what I feel is if after I perish, when I die, that I'm going to go up somewhere and like go over the things that I've done in my life. You know, my good things, my bad things, my whatever things, like my neutral whatever, right?
The nuance.
And we'll figure out what it is that I learned. What I learned, and until I learn everything, I'm gonna keep coming back here, keep coming back to Earth, as somebody different, somebody new. Maybe like
reincarnation?
Yeah, like reincarnation.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then when I figured everything out...
Well, not too interesting, because I think I remember like having some kind of conversation with you about this.
Once I figured everything out and I've become enlightened, right? That's the term people use. When I become enlightened, then I can like do the lotus stance and just like float off into the just like disappear, just like whoosh, just float up into nowhere.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, whatever helps you sleep at night.
Right, totally, right. And then after I reach that, then maybe I'll have the choice to move on to something else after I die and live in this physical realm.
So you believe that you believe in a higher power, you believe in something that is created all of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I mean, I believe that animals have souls. Like I could see that in animals. Like they make choices. They live very thoughtful lives. Even if it is a cow that sits around and eats all day, I always wonder what they're thinking.
You don't think that they just do?
Just do? What do you mean by do?
Like animals don't have, like, animals have sex just to reproduce.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, and they eat food purely to survive. Mm. And it's like there's not like I don't see much free will in animals. Like
right.
It's just they just do.
Right. What about us?
Huh?
Aren't humans animals? Don't we just have sex to reproduce and eat to survive?
Well, I'd hope that you wouldn't have that like mentality of like just we're just here to repopulate and to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's depressing to think about. You know what I mean?
It is depressing to think about.
Like, to just paint that picture of just, we are here to repopulate and survive. Like, survivor of the fittest, like, there's no story in that. Like, we are just as much animals as, but...
Would you, I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Would you think to say that there are some people in society today that are like cows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think those are people who just don't seek truth.
Right.
I think that they've become comfortable and they've just accepted where they're at, just as a rock accepts where they're at, and they just rock it up right there. Or like a plant just does, like. But what's crazy, to think is that you've read the Bible, and there's so many stories about, I mean, would I explain this tree for?
Life.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, it represents life.
I thought it was just something that was like a cool centerpiece.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it has a meaning to it.
Yeah, it was a whole lot cheaper to buy a...
piece of wood?
No, a drill bit than a mic stand.
I was going to say, why would you buy a piece of wood? You'd probably cut that yourself. Did you cut that? Chainsaw that one? I
think it was Creighton.
Jones?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he cut it down and he had it in the back of his truck or something. I threw it in the back of his truck.
I want this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna carve it into like a. Honestly, I was gonna carve it into a cross and like give it to my girlfriend at the time.
Nice.
But
that's gonna be a lot of whittling if that's gonna be a cross.
Yeah, but then I was like broken up with, and then I started this, and I was like, maybe I'm gonna use it as a mic stand.
Do that. I think that's a great idea. It's very creative.
But anyway, back into the animal animalistic.
You were saying it's depressing to think about.
Yeah.
If that is all we're here to do.
Yeah.
Because there's no story in that.
No.
But maybe there is a story in that.
There's no. I mean, there's the possibilities.
Yeah.
For a human opposed to like an animal. Is that you are like a tree and that your roots just go outward and like you can go they're infinite possibilities, right? Okay. Whereas if you're an animal, then you kind of just you're dictated by humans, because we are superior to animals.
We've won the planet, I agree.
So, but even if there was no humans and it was just a bunch of, they're talking about like, PETA right now is talking about saving the cows, like, and not having, they're already against like slaughtering cows, and now they're talking about like not even
well, it's because like
taking dairy
processing them so much is what's killing the environment. That's what's so bad.
But what would happen with all of those cows? Like, say we do stop, we just live off plants.
Fucking let them go. They're going to be like the new buffalo, the bisons.
Yeah, dude, just like you said, though, like, they're going to die off. Like,
yeah.
Like, if you just take 10,000 cows and just, like, release them into the wild, maybe 10 of them would survive. I mean, because they would get eaten by the other animals.
Right. PETA's always been really hardcore against anything.
But I don't
harmful to animals.
My contingency with that is that I don't believe that the difference between animals and humans is that I believe that we have souls. I don't believe that animals have souls because they don't have anything that they're trying to fill. I see a soul as something that is that void that we try to fill with food. Right? Or
food or love, sense of belonging, fun, security.
And animals, they don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That. Sure. Yeah.
So
I see what you mean.
Don't get me wrong, I love animals.
I still believe that animals have souls, and I would love to, once I finish up my work, become back as like a dog, because being a dog would be the best ever, because you just get an unimaginable love.
Yeah, but not all the time.
Exactly. Well, there are those rare cases that like you...
Way more often than not, there are dogs that are not handled well.
That sucks, doesn't it?
And I can tell you that working in lawn care.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm always working, mowing lawns and houses and stuff, and it's like I see these dogs in these backyards that are just absolutely tearing up the whole backyard.
Yeah.
And
well, because they just want to be free and get out. They don't have that sense of freedom.
No.
Right? Maybe that's why they're digging so much, because they don't feel like they're free. And that's why they're trying to escape and they dig around.
Or either that or the owner just isn't feeding them and they are hungry.
Yeah.
And so it's
totally.
survivor mode at that point.
Yeah, they gotta get out.
Yeah. So when I describe that as like survival of the fittest as a depressing thought, is because that describes animals. It doesn't describe humans.
Absolutely.
Because there's so much more than just eating, drinking, and sleeping.
Oh yeah.
With other people.
I would agree.
Reproducing. Like, there's so much more than
sleeping,
that.
Yeah. Sleeping with other people. Yep, that and that.
I try to, like, tie that in there poetically.
It's okay, you did great. You just full circled it,
Yeah,
so nice job.
So, how do you describe faith?
Faith as in, like
if I were to look at you and I said, I have faith in you, like, what does that make you feel?
confident that you believe in me. If you had faith in me, that I'd feel confident. I'd feel this sense that I could do something even if I didn't think I could.
Yeah.
You know what that sort of like unconscious confidence is that you can have, and someone's like, "Hey man, you got this." And you're like, "Yeah, I got this. I can do it."
So who do you put a majority, or what do you put a majority of your faith into?
The woods.
The woods?
The wilderness. Yeah, I put my faith in the wilderness.
Do you put faith in the boys that you...
No. No, it's not always boys, and it's not always just like girls, and sometimes it's like young adults. And I was quick to say no, but I'm a firm believer that the wilderness does the work, and for like people that don't know what we're talking about.
There's somebody out there like looking in here like,
that's fine. What's up, dude? For people that don't know what we're talking about, I do wilderness therapy, and I'm a field guide on that. And so I spend a lot of time out in the woods, and I help people with their problems. I'm not a licensed therapist by any means. Really what my job is keeping people alive and helping, seriously, and teaching them how to survive.
Yeah.
And then through that, just observing them and their mannerisms, and then from there seeing what their work is that they come out with their therapist, and pushing them in those ways with their work, like if it's entitlement or like laziness or something.
Yeah.
Like you're able to see that in how someone conducts their daily life, because I'm there 24/7.
Sure.
So I get to see that, and that's what I do. So when I have faith in them, I don't always have faith in someone to get things done. Like I don't have faith in them in certain ways, but I have faith in nature that it has a healing process to it. Because, yeah.
So when you say woods, you mean nature?
Nature, wilderness. Yeah, the woods, yes.
Do you think that would ever let you down?
That nature would?
Yeah.
No. I don't.
You don't think that tomorrow it could all go away?
Nature?
Yeah.
Unless there was some bombs being shot? No, I really doubt that nature would go away tomorrow. It's getting harder and harder to find untapped nature and nature that's away from everything else. Like, I hiked into this canyon for 3 days, and I was still finding like little bits of trash from other people that they've left out there. So it's like still, it's not true wilderness in the sense that no one's been there yet, right? But there's still, but it is wilderness in the sense that it's far enough away from definitive care. Like you probably need a helicopter or something to get into the canyon, or maybe even have to like hike somebody out if they got hurt, and then it would still be another 4 to 6 hours to it.
I kind of want to know like the craziest story you've gotten from it, like because that's a crazy occupation.
It's.
I mean, not crazy, but I mean like that's
yeah.
When I say crazy, I mean like it's different.
It's a whole different type of work, man. Like it's because I go in and I essentially go off the grid for about 8 days.
Yeah.
And then I come back, and then I have 6 days off, and then I go back in and have 8 days off. So if I ever work like a double shift, I'm in for 2 weeks, and I can just lose an entire month almost, or half of a month will go by and I'll
Do you Facebook or Instagram or any of this like on there, or while you're out there?
that I'm losing.
Do you have any cell service out there?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any cell service.
Do the kids have any cell phones?
Oh no.
Really? So they completely detach from
We detach them. Yeah, absolutely.
the culture.
From their culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because normally it's like a negative culture they're coming from. So it's something that's probably necessary for them.
Yeah.
And what they bring into the teams that they spend in for the time that they do, they create a culture, their own like sense of culture and things. So
Well, like fellowship.
yeah,
They create their own fellowship.
Exactly.
They begin to trust each other and brotherhoods form.
Especially those kids
sisterhood.
that come in that get taken away from their homes in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
It's called being gooned. And so, like, parents will pay people to come kidnap their kids, essentially.
No way.
Mm-hmm. And then they take them out into the middle of nowhere, where they then show up, and we're like, "Yo, what's up? Time to live in the woods now." It's like, you got to poop in a hole. Sometimes we poop in plastic bags, especially like when you work in certain areas that like where the leave no trace ethics is you can't poop because it's not going to be sustainable for the environment. It's like you got to poop in like a plastic bag and then put that plastic bag in another plastic bag.
Yeah.
And if we're not at a place where we have like where we're supported by like the operations and logistics people at the company, then you got to carry it with you. Carry your poop. I think that's pretty funny.
So this camera goes out every 30 minutes, so you'll see me reach over there every now and then and
Make
restart
sure
it.
you tag. Okay.
Yeah. Because if you guys didn't know, I produce all of this myself, and if you're looking for a non-paid position, please contact me at info@interactive.me. That's with an E, interactive, E-N-T, enter like exit, active like .me.
Enter like an enter button on the,
Yeah.
on the keyboard?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool.
So you've been doing this for how long?
Oh, almost a full year now.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting close to that.
What have those kids like taught you?
Those kids have taught me how to hold boundaries with people and how to approach scenarios and approach people and conflict in a different way.
Yeah.
Because normally when you hear conflict, what do you think?
I think communication.
Yeah, communication.
True communication.
True communication. Yeah. A lot of times when people hear conflict, they can think like, "Oh, somebody did something wrong."
Yeah.
There's not always like negative conflict. There's like, there's so many different types.
Well, I think when conflicts happen, that means that there's something happening. When there's no conflict, then like these the discussions that I have with people is that like I want there to be some kind of conflict. Like we disagree on
something.
Animals. And
so do you take the other stance on purpose sometimes?
What's that?
Do you take an opposite stance on purpose sometimes just to like get the
like play the devil's advocate?
Yeah.
And kind of just like
That's
definitely
totally something you've always done though.
Yeah.
You've always done that.
And I think that's also something that you've always done. I think that's why we kind of
Yeah. Although it really
begrudgingly.
Yeah, no, that was a sigh. That was the total like, I did do that, and I do sometimes do that just on purpose. But just to poke. I like to just fire somebody up if they need that.
Well, I think sometimes that you got to make somebody feel uncomfortable to have them feel comfortable in their own life.
Yeah, there is total growth in like uncomfortability.
When we just say something out of the blue and make a funny face and this was what I wanted to talk to you about is the earliest memory that I had of you.
Oh shoot!
Was
Let's
like
go.
You had this like buzz cut but you'd always do this like make this monkey face. Yeah,
like that.
Yes.
Nice.
And so I remember like real like elementary school.
Wow. I would do that.
You would do that.
School?
Yeah, and it would make people would be like, "Why did you just do that?"
I don't know.
They wouldn't say it out loud, but
right.
you just do it, and then like it'd make them smile.
Mm-hmm. Smile's great, dude. I like people when they smile.
And
I
think
making people smile.
Yeah, and so I think that there's beauty in that. And I think I remember that just like seeing that happen with you doing that, and I was like, I want to do that. And so, like, I think I told you that this is kind of like how people who've shaped me, and so like seeing you do that, I was like, I want to do that, and we kind of like
did that.
Both of us.
And then we just did that.
We just we would
did it.
We would say things and do things, and people would be like, why are they doing that?
Just have fun. Just be fun.
Yeah, to think outside of the box for just like a moment, like.
Yeah.
Because if you just look around and everybody's walking around like drones,
yep.
You know, like the person who steps out of the line and does this silly,
just like. I'm super guilty of it. I have done it.
So I've deleted all apps, the only apps that I have on my phone. And I really wish I need to get back into Duolingo, but Duolingo and like the Bible app and like the weather app.
That's what's up. What were you studying in Duolingo?
Spanish for the longest time. I would probably know Spanish the best, and then I started in on like Russian.
Nice, cool.
Didn't get anywhere with that. Greek, Hebrew, didn't get anywhere in either of those. But like I want.
You were just searching for information.
Exactly.
You wanted knowledge.
Well, the thing is that so like the New Testament was written in Greek originally, and then the Old Testament is written in ancient Hebrew.
Nice.
So the whole thing with learning Hebrew, I was like, I want to be able to understand. I want to be able to, because there's a lot of more words out there.
Yeah, totally.
And so I wanted to better understand the Old Testament.
Nice.
But then somebody told me like, it's written in ancient Hebrew.
And you're like, oh well, I need to learn that.
And then I was like, well, Duolingo doesn't offer that. So then I was like, well, I'll learn Greek.
Okay.
Because the New Testament, there's several different words for love.
Yeah.
Different types of love.
Yeah. Do you have a Bible that's not a King James Bible?
Yeah. So I walk. I don't know.
I walk. What are you saying?
So I read through like an ESV version, a amplified version, Messenger, and a bunch of like I'll compare a lot of them.
What's ESV mean?
English Standard Version.
Okay. So that's not based on King James.
No.
Okay, cool.
And I've been told a whole bunch of other like weird things about translations and stuff.
Yeah, I was always curious because like that, like, I think that's the one that's used the most.
Yeah.
But that's
English Standard is probably either the second or the.
It was okay.
Yeah, most standard one.
That Bible's been around for like hundreds of years, ever since like King James just like said fuck the Pope. Sorry. Wow. Ever since he was like, hey, screw this. Dang it. Ever since he was like, hey, I don't want to be a part of this because I want to divorce this person, and then the Pope wouldn't allow it, right? That's why.
I have no idea. I think the King James version, it was, I don't know.
I need to study more history.
I don't really care. I mean, like, I do, but like, for me, it's not, that part is not really important to me. What's important is that, like, I'm learning.
Yeah.
And so
you could learn about history.
Sure, yeah. And it would make a lot of other things more sense when you're reading about them.
Well, because there is, in a sense, I think there is like some reoccurrences that happen in history that, like, within different generations that.
Well, yeah.
If we're keen to see, then we can, try and correct if that comes up as a society. But
sure.
Yeah.
I think that almost revelation is more powerful than that, though. Getting this out of the shot.
Okay.
But anyway, I asked the question, do you read any self-help books? At the last My Testimony? No, I'm not asking you that. I'm talking. It's cameras on me this time, so hold up 1 second.
Oh shit. Okay.
I can't believe I just did that. But when I asked that question, like, do you read any self-help books? Like. He told me no, but I watched this documentary that changed my life, and I was like, then, have you been watching documentaries since then? For me, it was like, it opened me up to this whole new, like, what do you do to learn?
Me?
Yeah. Where do you find wisdom?
Okay.
Yes.
I thought you were going off on a monologue or something.
No, I just had to talk it through in my, out loud.
Got it. Yeah, it's classic.
But,
classic stuff.
Like, where do you find wisdom?
I find wisdom in books right now. I read books. I actually use Duolingo also. I know. This isn't like an ad for that, but
Yeah.
I use it.
We do not endorse. I mean, we do, but this is not a paid advertisement.
I like to use it, but this isn't for that.
Yeah. But you just got a book, too.
Yeah, I just got a book called The Anatomy of Peace.
Yeah.
And that one is a book about like conflicts and conflict management, and being able to like approach things and having a different perspective when you come into a conflict with somebody. And I know me personally, like I used to be, just a quick spin-off on like this, like why conflicts is I used to be like super reactionary. When somebody was always like, well, like you're this and that. And I'd immediately think, I'm not this and that.
Yeah.
Even if I was. You're being a this, that, or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm not being a this, that, or whatever.
Yeah.
Immediately. And that's being like reactionary. And it's like, no, you're being the this, that, whatever.
Well, they're questioning.
It's someone.
CJ, Charles, they're questioning who you are whenever they say you're being this and that.
What I think it is and was for me, and you can say Charlie, because it's not Charles, but I just gotta say it, dude, Charlie. If you're gonna go CJ and then something else, you can call me CJ.
Okay.
You've known me forever.
Okay.
That's sweet.
I just remember one time on the phone where I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. Since coming out here, I've kind of like thrown off that veil of CJ and just been Charlie. So,
you probably get treated differently.
I don't know. There's other CJs that live around here that I've met, and they're like, no way, they have the same name. That's so cool. Anyways, I used to be super reactionary, and I used to, just like take it with anger and be really angry about things until I learned how to be like responsive instead. And it's like, I hear that you think I'm at this, that, and whatever. Like, why? Why do you? And so like I could have then been assertive with my communication and everything. And so it's just good to know about more conflicts. It's good for understanding others and like being able to see where maybe a conversation's going, so that way if it's going down somewhere where someone's going to get angry or something, we can like turn it or curve it to a place where like so we can be more of a discussion than an argument. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's why I want that book, and it's good for dealing with people that are assholes.
But it sounds like you already have it figured out at that point.
I don't have everything figured out.
I mean, you don't have it figured, but I mean
well, there's still more to learn. Yeah. Definitely more to learn with that, and where books can't help me, experience can. So that's like where being in relationship with a bunch of dissonant teens is very fun because there's conflict everywhere.
Yeah.
And with people who really victimize themselves and people who are like super assertive and try to do like my job for me. And like, nope, I'm the person that's in charge, not you. And so, yeah, so there's a lot of experience that goes along with it, and the more that I can use and the more angles I can use, and this book has different ideas and different ways of understanding conflict and where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, it's coming from some sort of emotion, right? Anything that we do comes from some sort of like an emotion that we have that might be backed up by like a belief that we have, that might then be backed up by a value that we have, that we're either meeting positively or negatively. And that just shapes the entire effect of how we feel and how we're going to act. And so understanding where it's kind of like going at a root level of like why we're doing exactly what we're doing is really helpful.
Yeah, understanding your purpose.
Uh-huh. Sure. So that's when you look at it.
So, who do you give credit to?
For what?
For personal achievements.
Everyone. And myself. Yeah. Everyone that's been there along my way, that's helped me out. And also myself, because without me, I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you divide flesh and spirit?
Like, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, what do you like, everybody has a good and bad side to them, right?
Sure. Yin and yang.
Sure.
Your
flesh and spirit.
Pepperoni slice of pizza and your cheese slice of pizza.
Yeah.
That just are intertwined in like the...
I don't quite understand that.
Pizza yin yang.
I like the yin and yang or the flesh and spirit.
Spirit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do you define both of those to you? Because
flesh is my body. That's how I feel physically.
yeah.
Right. And then spirit, that's how connected I feel to whatever is out there that's more than just me.
Yeah.
However my spirit's feeling connected. Like at this moment, physically, I'm feeling like a tightness in the bottoms of my feet, kind of where my feet are touching my shoes. I feel my sit bones on the chair. And I feel a little bit of like a heavy weight on my shoulders. And spiritually, right now, I feel really grounded and present.
Yeah.
That's me. Yeah.
Good answer.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
However you want. I'd go as far as to say that there's also a couple more things, a couple more places you can.
Here, work this into
go.
it as well. With
Okay.
Here's another kind of like sidestep question: is
sidestep it.
yeah, sidestep it.
Sidestep it.
Sidestep.
Okay.
Is like who put that spirit in you, or what put that spirit in you?
It was always there. Spirit's just always been there.
Yeah. So you feel like your spirit is eternal?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I finish up here, you know, in this once I finish this physical body, and I go up, and I come back down, because I don't believe that I'm gonna have found all the answers and like understood everything I've needed to by that time.
Yeah.
But when I do, and I go up, and they go, all right, cool. And you have a choice. You go back down, or you can go on and move on. Like that's totally eternal.
I think that'd be hell.
You think that'd be hell?
Yeah,
Getting to move on somewhere else. Do you want to go back? I'd probably go like yes, as the dog that gets loved, not the beaten dog, but the nice dog that gets loved by everybody.
Yes.
Lives the good life.
Sure.
Gets to eat all the human food.
Oak tree that
gets really
isn't gonna
fat.
get chopped down.
And it's just like rolls around. It's like maybe like a fat little chihuahua or something. You know, like just ugly.
See, I think that like.
But that's like the happiest dog ever.
But doesn't that like stammer your steps here on Earth to like to believe that you're gonna have to come back? Like,
no. Do you like it here?
I mean, no. I think that
you don't like it here?
No, I think that there's something that is so much greater that we weren't necessarily meant to be here. Like it's like there's something off about this place. You know, like you've seen The Matrix, where like something's just a little bit off.
Did you see that same person walk by twice?
Yeah, right. Oh boy, you went there.
So you don't like it in your skin? You don't like being in your skin?
No, I think that there's yeah. I mean, like I'm always decaying. Like my body is not eternal. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I recognize that
your spirit is right.
My spirit is eternal, but my body is not. And
that's okay.
Tomorrow my knees are gonna hurt even more, and a year down the road, it's gonna be harder for me to write. It already is difficult for me to write, and 20 years from now, you know, I may have to witness my mother and father pass away. Mm-hmm. Like, no, like I think that this place is anything but perfect.
Yeah, no, this place is totally not perfect.
Yeah, but I think it's like I would if I like to ask the question a lot of times is like, would I worship a god if he did this?
Like what?
Like, would I worship a god that would send me back to the earth?
Okay. Would you?
Probably not.
No?
No. I mean, that would...
You know, it amazes me, Sam, because you've always been somebody who, like, loves or appears to love life so much and to have so much fun all the time.
And I do.
That you don't like it here.
I just know that there's something better. I think that there's something out there that is greater.
So
I guess we're describing like...
Are you just going to future trip the rest of your life until you get there, or are you going to have some fun while you're here, bud?
No, man. It's all vanity, bro. Like, I'm going to live it. Yeah, I'm going to live every day. And
okay.
It's... I'm not... I don't have these kind of like... I don't think that don't think that saying that is necessarily a pessimistic view of life. I think it's just truth.
Yeah, okay. Maybe you don't have to like it here, and you can still enjoy it while you don't like it.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you can do things that you don't want to do that, you know, you can still have fun doing.
But here on the earth is the furthest thing away from heaven.
Mm-hmm, okay.
And I think you would agree with me on that.
That being here and living on the earth where you're constantly dying, and everybody around you is dying.
Decaying.
And everything around you is dying.
Yes.
That heaven, where everything is eternal,
sure,
looks pretty good compared to everything that's dying.
I'd say yeah.
Well, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you go from a place where everything's dying to a place where nothing is dying and everything is long living. Then, yeah, I mean, I would agree. Yeah, sure, totally. Sounds like a great place.
Yeah. So how about you get baptized tomorrow and we do this?
That's okay.
No, I actually haven't even been baptized. Well, I have. I was baptized as a baby.
As a baby?
Yeah, so I grew up Catholic.
Nice.
Like the... Yeah.
No idea if I was baptized as a baby or not.
I
don't really remember. Probably because I was a baby.
My phone is dying.
It's okay, I have a watch. I can keep time.
Okay.
I can set it.
And at like 9 o'clock, I think that we're going to have to like reset that camera.
Which one?
That one.
That one. All right.
Or even earlier.
Well, I can set like an alarm clock. Like a time clock. Like a... Yeah, like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Starting it right now. Boom.
Cool.
It'll go off in a half hour.
Dope. So what?
Yeah. Fucking animals and shit, man.
Yeah.
In the woods. Like, it's a beautiful spiritual place, and it is hard to...
You moved out of focus.
It is hard to have faith in some of the people that I work with, in that sense, to believe in them, you know? Because some people come in that can't take care of themselves. So you have to remind them to take care of themselves.
Yeah. What do you do when they ask you, like, what do they ask, like, do they ever ask you about your beliefs?
Me?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. Most of the time they're wrapped up in hating where they are and wanting to go home and like, hating their parents or whatever.
Sure. Because everything's decaying around them rapidly.
I think it's just because they miss home and they don't want to be in the woods. But there's a few instances where, you know, people have asked me what I believe in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that has like questioned that?
No. It's a pretty non-judgmental place where I work, and like accepting in that way. Like, I've worked with transgender people that are in a group of the same sex that they were born, but they identify as a separate sex, a different gender.
Yes.
And no one ever in that group would ever call that person by the wrong pronoun that they liked to be called by, right? And so it's really accepting in that way.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really non-judgmental in that way as well.
No
one's saying, hey, you need to act your sex.
Yeah.
You need to act your gender.
Do you think that there are people in this world that use emotion as a double-edged sword?
Yeah, totally.
What kind of people are those?
People who don't understand their emotions.
You get what I'm saying?
Maybe not. Why don't you explain to me?
So, this was out in Chicago, and it was my first confrontation with someone who was non-binary. Mm-hmm. And I used to interview musicians, artists.
Okay.
And so I went up to them and I said, I asked them about the pronouns. I didn't have a freaking clue. Like,
sure.
What is it that you identify as or whatever.
Yeah.
So then we get to talking, and then I ask difficult questions to anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
Because I think that that's important, that we do challenge each other. I want to be surrounded by people who do question my beliefs. Mm-hmm. I want to be surrounded by people who constantly question me, because it will remind me to question who I am as a person, what I'm doing. Is it right? Is it wrong? Anyway, that's just to justify the question of asking.
So you were asking them difficult questions.
Yeah, one of those difficult questions was, do you believe that people should be fined if they call you the wrong pronoun?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is that a difficult question? It sounds more just like an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like an icebreaker. to me.
For me, right? And you, yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
But no, and so anyway, I ended up, and they
What
were
did they
like,
say?
They
What
were
was their
totally cool,
response?
like, yeah.
Okay.
Which like I'm like, okay, that's crazy.
Sure. So how are they using emotion as a sword?
So then they walked away and like they were like, yeah, like I'll sit down with and have an interview with you, and I'm like, great, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So they walk away, and then 5 minutes later, they told on me. They tattled on me.
About what?
Um,
Like, hey, this guy asked me some difficult questions.
yeah.
Okay.
I made them feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
And so then the stage manager came up to me and said like, hey, we don't want you to talk to any musicians anymore.
So that's called passive-aggressive communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's wielding emotion as a sword.
Okay.
And I think that's happening a lot today. And
Right. I mean, people are very passive with their communication today. I think that's the way that a lot of things go.
I guess that leads me into my next question. Is like, what are your biggest concerns in today's world?
Prescription medication.
Just on the rise.
That's my biggest concern. I mean, I've worked with so many people that have come in that are taking prescription medication and maybe don't need it, but because they've maybe taken it for so long that it's become a chemical dependency almost. So that's like...
Wait, go back to that one spot.
Okay.
I like you there.
Okay, that's the first thing that really comes to my head that I'm just scared about.
Prescriptions.
Yeah,
Prescription
prescription
drugs.
medication, and...
Do you take any prescription medication?
No, never have.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Not even Adderall?
Nope.
I was on that Adderall train.
Yeah. Yeah, seems like most people have.
I've heard. I did hear one positive story from it where they were on it and then they were off it. And
Right.
It helped
and
them.
I think that it is helpful, and I see it as something that's really scary as well when you see it happening a lot in colleges as well. People will get a prescription for Adderall so that way they can do all of their schoolwork.
Do you think that's because kids are able to determine their own medication? Because I can tell you from personal is that I was able to. I twisted my whole doctor into knocking me up to 65 milligrams of Adderall within a few weeks.
I think you have your answer then.
Sure. I just kind of wanted to ask you because that's anecdotal. I don't know.
Well, I don't go to a doctor.
It's
and
subjective to say that.
I don't write prescriptions, so I can't answer that confidently.
Sure.
I think another thing that concerns me about society today is how plugged in everybody is. I think that's just because of the nature of my work. The nature of my work.
Oh.
Yeah, I know that was actually a really bad one.
So have you seen Black Mirror?
I have watched a few episodes of Black Mirror.
Did you see Nosedive?
Which one's that one? Is that the one where they rate stars?
Yes.
I had to watch that for a class, and I was furious the entire time I watched it.
Yeah.
I hated every single second of it.
Yep.
And I only finished that episode because it was for a class.
Do you know why you felt that way?
Why?
Because it was true. 100%. That is...
I was just disgusted.
It's a pure reflection of how things not only are, but are going to become...
Well, didn't they pass something like that in China?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that what I heard correctly?
Yeah, so they didn't pass anything because it's a communist country, so they just did it.
Didn't they implement something like that in China? You can just cut out the last few seconds.
Yeah. Yes, they implemented it into China, where basically if you get caught robbing a store and I'm directly associated with you, then I may not be able to get on the train anymore because I'm directly associated with you.
Sucks if you have to if you live in poverty and you can't provide for yourself, so you have to go to stealing, and then you just have a bad rating because you're living in poverty and you have to steal to survive, and then you can't do anything.
Which happens quite a bit, I'm sure.
I don't know. I just imagine that would suck.
I think it happens more there than...
That happens.
I'm curious about what China's crime rate is.
I don't know.
But
stealing to live is different than stealing to steal.
Yeah.
Stealing to provide, or stealing to get money.
Yeah.
In that way, stealing to like just be richer. But yeah, I think those are two things that are wrong that I see struggling with in society. The lack of love for nature is one too.
Yeah.
And that's just because I don't think enough people spend time outside. I think if everybody spent more time outside, then they'd love the woods more.
It'd probably be a whole lot.
Do you like the woods?
Yeah.
Do you remember going playing in the creek?
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
Is that your earliest memory? Because I remember asking you to like try to remember. Reset that camera if you would.
Yeah.
I know I said 30 minutes, but it should shut off. Like, just push the record button twice, and then flip open the screen, and then make sure it's still recording.
Flip open the screen. It's recording.
Okay.
Okay. Closing.
And then set it to an hour on your watch.
Okay, I'll just set it at 30 minutes. And then do it again after that 30 minutes.
Well, it would last an hour. This one's 30 minutes.
Okay, well, so there you go.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna reset this one.
All right, reset it.
Boom.
Boom.
So what were you saying?
Earliest memories.
Yeah.
I remember riding bikes home with you in
Yes.
school, 2nd grade. We rode bikes home. You rode your bike home in 2nd grade.
Yep.
And I always turned off at Scott
Uh-huh.
and said bye to you because you had to keep going.
That's what I remember. Okay, so there was that. I remember this
Do you
time
remember
when like you were like a hoss on the bike, like you would be flying.
Oh,
especially,
dude, yeah.
Especially because you knew where to go on Scott, and it's like a downhill all the way down, right?
Oh, it is so much fun.
And so I remember like following you one time, but I didn't know the road, so I was like being a little bit cautious, and I remember getting lost.
Did you take the side road that you go up Scott, and then there's the road that will connect back to Ridge?
I think so.
You take that way back home?
I think. Well, I didn't. I just remember getting lost, and I was just like. I was like almost like a little bit ticked off at you because like.
Well, I probably didn't know you were even back there.
I know you didn't. Like I just like was like I'm gonna follow CJ home, but that's who I was like as a 2nd grader. Like
yeah, I think that was my earliest memory of you, and then one of my most detailed memories of you when we were younger was when we did our own Olympics. And we recorded our own Olympics. Do you remember this? With the VHS camera.
Yes. Do you still have that footage?
Probably not. It's VHS, and it's probably
right.
dead. But do you remember? And we were just like jumping off of stairs onto a beanbag.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. And now look at you. Now you got cameras everywhere.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's awesome.
It's
really cool to see that.
I can't stand it.
What? This is what you're doing. This is cool.
It's fun. Anytime that,
think it's
pointed out, then it's like I'm always like.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, cameras everywhere. But,
well, see, I think that there's a right approach to it and a wrong approach to it, and like I always feel like, and I feel like I'm always riding a thin line on it, like whether it's narcissistic or I like to say like angelic or demonic.
Okay.
And that you're riding a thin line whenever you put cameras on yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think it's healthy. I think it's fine. I don't.
Do you Snapchat still?
No, I actually quit Snapchatting in October.
Nice.
And I did that for a really long time.
Instagram? You on
I did
social
that,
media anymore? No social media?
The only like I'm on like this Facebook group for like Christian YouTubers.
Nice. Okay. Is that what you are? You're a Christian YouTuber?
I don't know. I should really just join. It was funny. I've got 2 Christian YouTuber like groups that I'm a part of that I'll post the videos up in.
Mm-hmm. But you don't consider yourself a Christian YouTuber?
It's the same kind of question. Like, do you consider yourself a Christian rapper? Like,
well, I don't fucking rap, so pardon.
Well, I'm just saying, like, when they ask the question, like, do you consider yourself? No, I don't. I don't like labels. I don't like identifying. I think that that is my biggest concern in today's culture is that we are identifying things. Like we're putting veils over people's faces, and I've described it in a couple other videos of just like we are putting veils in front of other people's faces, and we're not seeing them for who they are. You're seeing somebody a part of a group. It's called victimhood mentality, and that the idea that there is a group that's oppressing and there's a group that is victimized.
Okay.
And to say like we'll say Hispanics. Okay. So like when somebody looks at someone and sees them, then they see like Hispanic, and then it's like they have less privilege or whatever. It's like this idea of like in fact, interesting enough, I had somewhat of a conversation. Somebody shared with me that they shared with their camp counselor, and their counselor told them their story, and after hearing their story, this kid was like, wow, it doesn't feel like my story is that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really dangerous to I think it's dangerous to pass judgment on somebody based off of their experiences.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's all about judging, right? It's like, we're so quick now to judge people for what they look like, what they say, what they do.
But I think it's like twisted now, where it used to be like we would see people and we would be like, it used to be that we would just be envious. Now it seems like envy has turned to more action. It used to, people just kind of kept it inside themselves, but now with like social media is that they're able to actually like let that out.
Okay, I'm so lost. No, you've lost me.
That's fine. And so
you're gonna have to
back it up
or dumb it down.
Dumb it down.
One of the two. By dumbing it down, I just mean be a little bit more concise.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different interlocking parts of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm able to like connect those dots. And so if you gave me just some concise bullet points, I think I might get it.
So better. I can give you like two different, like an example of how people actually acted upon their emotions.
Okay.
Like a specific emotion.
Right.
Like anger.
Uh-huh.
Like you saw it whenever you were talking about my sister, whenever we were like in 6th grade or 7th grade at my birthday party.
Oh, yeah.
And I tried to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And we got in a big old fight.
I'm sorry. I was just like deeply in love with your sister at that time in my life.
That's fine. You and pretty much every person that I...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So like anger, like people were more, and still are to some degree, more apt to act upon anger. Now I think today is that we're seeing people act upon envy. And that,
in the same way? Is that what
not necessarily in the same. It's just they're acting upon it. So where you have anger in you.
So
and
you're acting on a different emotion that we're acting on now?
Yeah.
And
so
that's
like,
not anger. And he's like, that's fine. I'm just angry now. But I'm super envious now, so I'm gonna act on this.
Yes. And so like, what that looks like is I think that people I think that people didn't really act upon it earlier on because they were envious of success. I think that we used to be more envious upon success. Now we're envious upon persecution.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I mean by that is that
Thank you for wrapping it up for me, because you're losing me again.
That's fine. That's fine. So where we used to be envious of like rappers or like actors or whoever we saw them as successful.
Yeah.
Now it's beginning to be envious of those who are not privileged, because it's starting to flip. So those who have
privilege.
So those who have
are envious of people that don't have privilege. Is that what you're saying?
Privileged people are envious of those
people who don't have privilege.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
They're like, hey, I could use some more adversity in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm glad I'm talking to you about this, because it's like, it kind of like I don't. It's not intended to get political, but it seems to get political. But it's not. It's just human psyche.
Well, like, I can see that. I guess. I mean, I work with the population of very privileged people. Wilderness therapy right now is not an inexpensive program. It is very expensive. It costs like as much as going to college does.
Yeah.
At a smaller college, you know?
Yeah.
But it still costs as much as a 4-year university. And there is a lot of privilege.
And I think it's due to coddling
that I work with
a lot of the time, or lack of coddling. I think that the degrees of
there's a lot that goes into like what brings a person there, you know. But when the privilege that I see that comes in is, it's mostly like money privilege.
Mm-hmm.
But the privilege that I see outside of that, like for me, because I'm a white male, I got it pretty easy in the world. I'm very privileged. I came from a nice family. I'm privileged.
Yeah, but let me stop you real quick. There's
Yeah.
a term called white trash. Familiar with it?
Oh, I know that term. Yeah.
There's a word. There is a definition that surrounds white people that are not privileged at all. People who live in trailers, who don't have money to buy 2 lunches at lunchtime like we always did.
Well, this town that you're in right now is poverty-ridden town.
Sure.
Every Thursday, there is an initiative that was started at the college that's here that the grocery stores bring the bread that expires on that day
Yeah.
in here because not everybody can even feed their whole families here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a small ski town, so, when it's not ski season, there's nobody here, right? And because it's a ski town, there's so many second and third homeowners that own properties here that it's really expensive.
Yeah.
All the property here is super expensive. And so there's a housing crisis.
Sure.
As well. And there's so many people that have children that go to the schools here that can't afford to pay. Yeah, like 9. Yeah, we're good. That they can't afford to pay their kids' lunches. That they're on subsidized lunch, and that happens even throughout the summertime. So even in the summertime, the school's open during lunchtime for kids to go eat lunch.
Yeah.
Like, I see it, definitely.
Yeah.
And I see that there's like two different types of privilege, and like being white is also kind of nice though, in the sense that
It depends geographically.
geographically, absolutely, if being white in America, where we both are,
Sure.
that's pretty great.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're white trash or not, you still have a leg up on most other people,
Sure.
especially if you're a male.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, being white in Africa right now, and if you're a farmer, then you're getting attacked.
possibly.
Not possibly. Truthfully.
Okay. Truthfully.
Farm. Watched a whole documentary on it, and it kind of opened my eyes up to like, there's other places in the world, and gives me a better perspective of how well we have things here.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
But I still wouldn't want to come back.
Yep. So as I was getting at it, the privilege that I have is like I was given like sayings to use that were Native American sayings that I'm super not comfortable saying because of cultural appropriation and like the privilege that I feel like I have, and I can say something else instead. Can you get what I'm saying?
Not really, because
Okay.
I don't think that words should ever keep anybody up at night.
It's not the words, it's the meaning behind the words. So if there's something that's like a sacred saying that is used from a tribe that you can take somewhere and then just bastardize it by knowing it, just using it, that's kind of what cultural appropriation is in my mind.
Yeah, but I don't think that has anything to do with your identity. I think it has everything to do with you being an asshole.
By misusing it.
Yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
it's like what you say and what you do does not reflect the things that you say, and the things that you do don't reflect me.
Totally, they reflect me.
Yeah. But I think today is that what the things that you do and the things you say do reflect me because of this veil that has been placed over people.
Okay.
Of victimhood mentality.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, but I think also another thing is that, these kids that aren't able to, people who are going through those tough times, I'm seeing where I am. Did we scratch that table?
No idea.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Is that we're not able to speak into those people's lives who are going through those trials unless you yourself have personally experienced those trials.
Totally.
And I think that's like.
I don't think it's all right to, say like, hey man, it's really tough living in this part of the country. I never grew up there, but I just know it's tough.
But I think that it's safe to say, like, like, I may have not experienced the same things that you have, but we're both living through this world, and there's a bunch of assholes around here, and it's a climb to the top. It's a rat race. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it looks like that doesn't seem to be seen as encouragement anymore. That we like a like divorce, like I haven't experienced divorce, but somebody who I knew experienced it, and I looked at them after they told me that divorce is tough. Like, this has been a really shitty moment in my life, and I looked at him and I said, well, yeah, it's divorce. It's gonna be shitty. Now, have I ever experienced it? But can I say something like that and be able to speak into that person's life and be able to say, this is crappy, and I guess what I'm saying is that, can you empathize with people? Can you empathize with people anymore today? Where is empathy gone?
I feel like people are so empathy's gone to a place that's only for special reasons to have, I guess. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, Sam. But I think that a lot of people find empathy to be something that's harder to feel now. Mm-hmm. And it's harder to express empathy to others because there's so much information out there that people can read about divorce, just as general as a topic in general, right?
Yeah.
That they could read like divorce is good, divorce is bad. This is what you do. 5 steps to getting divorced, right? Like you can look something up and these are the 5 steps you need to get divorced, and you can really desensitize yourself to what that is.
Yeah.
Right. And having someone feel it, going through it, could totally suck. Absolutely. Divorce for me was how I know about divorce is my parents got divorced.
Yeah.
Right? So I experienced that through divorce. I've never been married or divorced.
Yeah. But so what I'm saying though is that if you saw me talking to somebody who a child, and this is totally hypothetical, but
no.
We both have
go for
imaginations. Let's roll with it. Is that if I was talking into, what I'd like to say is I'm pouring into somebody who's young who is going through.
Is it okay to say that? Is it okay to say, hey, divorce sucks?
No, not necessarily that, but if I started doing this with you and I sat down with this young chap and I didn't know that you were there in the field that day, and I sat down with him and I was talking to him about his mother and father's divorce and talking to him about it and listening and speaking to him.
Yeah.
Would you come up to me and go, dude, you don't know anything about that?
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
Because people love to talk about themselves, right?
Yeah.
And it's be therapeutic to get someone to open up to you.
Yeah.
It can be hard. I've worked for multiple weeks with someone and waited for them to open up to me before finally I get them to open up to me, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just because of the way that people are grown up and the way that people have viewed being emotional and feeling your feelings and expressing your feelings to how they do it now. And so, it's hard to empathize with people now, or some people find it hard to empathize with others now. But empathy is just it's like getting in the mud with them, right? If they're in the mud and they feel like crap because something sucks, you don't just go, oh yeah, that sucks, huh? Divorce sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. They already said it sucks.
Sure.
Or if you said to me, divorce sucks, and I'd go, yeah, that sucks. Or I said, I hear divorce sucks. Which one sounds better to you?
sucks.
That sucks. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And it just sucks. And so it's like getting down in the dirt with them. If they're in the dirt. That's empathy. Sympathy is being like, oh, well, that totally sucks. What are you going to do about it?
Well,
Bummer.
sympathy would be just you've actually experienced that.
That's empathy. Sympathizing with someone is like, yeah, man, that's...
I don't know. I'm going to have to Google it, but my phone's dead. But I think that sympathy is whenever you have actually experienced that, and that's through sympathy, that you're able to sympathize with somebody because you got in a car wreck 2 weeks ago. Just like you got it. And then
what's empathy?
Empathy is where you've never wrecked your car in your life, but somebody shares that they wrecked their car, and you're able to say, or what I'm seeing today is that you're not able to say.
Right. So when you're saying like people aren't being empathetic, it's hard for people to be empathetic, you mean?
Like I'm saying that I can't empathize with a guy that grew up in the city, a black man that grew up in a city, that lived in the projects.
Had a hard fucking life growing up.
What I see is that you can't sympathize, but you can definitely empathize with them.
Okay.
Because to sympathize would be like, yeah, I went through that same exact scenario. Can't sympathize.
Now I'm super confused on which one's which, but I'll just look it up later and laugh and have a laugh about it.
So,
but I see what you're saying is that like you can feel what he's feeling, right? And you can step into that because like maybe you haven't gone through the same things you have, but you've had the same feelings that person has had.
Yes, I think it's because it's grounded in just we've all experienced persecution.
At some point,
we've all experienced
everyone's been
pain.
bullied at some point,
and that's what kind of wraps me back into the whole idea that to gauge that pain is really, really what's the word I'm looking for? It's really, let's say the word nasty. It's a real nasty thing to get into. It's a real dirty place to get to.
To gauge pain?
When you're, gauging pain. To say that this person experienced more pain than me, and so I am not able to sit with him. And I think that kind of ties into we are all created equally. We all equally, we feel pain.
Right, so you're going to compare pain that someone else has had to pain that you've had, and you're going to compare yourself to somebody else and be like, I don't know if I can empathize with them because they've gone through more pain than I have.
Yes, and I think that's a really scary place, and I think that would probably be one of my biggest current concerns in today is that that's happening, and that's where the break in communication is happening, because if you can't empathize with somebody, you can't really communicate with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can communicate with them, but it's like, how's the weather doing? Like, how about that weather? Like, how about them Chiefs?
You see that sky today?
Yeah.
Talk about blue.
Talk about blue, my friend. But I'm talking deep discussions totally. That actually have that are what I would consider fruitful.
Yeah. So I'm gonna back it up again.
Yes.
Because I said I had two more things I wanted to add to your physical and your spiritual state of feeling.
Yeah.
I'd also say that there's an emotional state of feeling.
Oh, definitely.
It's your heart.
Yeah.
What does your heart say? And then
the heart is deceitful above all else.
And your mental state of feeling too.
Yeah.
It's your brain.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could have a really busy brain. Your heart could be longing for somebody. Or it could be really happy where you are right now.
The heart and the brain are kind of synonymous though.
No, I think your heart's emotional and your brain is mental.
Biologically speaking, though, there's no emotion that's going on in your heart.
Totally.
I think that when you define your heart, you're speaking more spiritual, like your spirit.
Well, that's what your beliefs would be. How connected do you feel?
Because now we're getting into Aristotle, where he described it as mind, or not. Well, the Hinduism I think is mind, body, spirit, and then Aristotle would be physicality. Mental and
spiritual.
I don't know if he called it spiritual or something else, but something along those terms.
Yeah.
And silence.
I thought you were still going.
I don't know.
Did you want me to tell you a story about one of the people that I worked with?
Yeah.
I could tell you more later too if you want. If you want one on here, I could put one on here.
Dude, the reason why I called you was not just to like, oh, I'm doing this YouTube channel and I want to sit down with you. No, I want to like reconnect with you.
Okay.
Because you and I, like,
we spent a lot of time together as kids.
yeah, we really did. Like,
and I feel like a lot of the time I was fighting for you when you weren't around.
you were, because I was that kid that
5 minutes. And
I'm gonna reset it because it's actually 30 minutes on the dot. That
okay. Should I do this one?
no.
Oh, that was an hour.
Yeah.
And I feel like
No, you defended me a whole lot, just as many other people defended, because I'd always hear, you know, one of these days you're gonna get your ass kicked, Sam.
lo and behold, the time that I'm letting my ass get kicked and I'm laughing at a person, you're just like grabbing them and throwing them off of me.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like
Wait, was that an actual happening? Did I throw somebody off of you at one point?
yeah, Colorado, dude.
Oh yeah, I
You
did.
remember that?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there laughing.
Yeah, I definitely jumped in there, and I'm not much of a fighter. Which
No,
is
you're not,
Interesting, because the last conversation I had, it was about I tackled some kid into the bushes because
Oh, dude.
yeah, to help out my buddy Ian.
Nice.
But yes,
You have a very strong sense of loyalty, Sam. Now, going back to it, I think that it was just like so easy to, I think you were very easily bullied in school growing up, and like that made you then be very reactionary in the way that like you would do things for people's reactions. Like you would kind of poke buttons in people for fun.
yeah. Well,
Right?
I don't think
Because you
the
thought
thing,
it was fun.
The thing is that I thought about this recently, and
You were
I don't
challenging
believe that
people.
it was for fun. It was
What was it for?
it was to see who they were.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
to really actually see, because the thing is that you can't fake anger,
Totally.
and so
Unless you're an actor.
unless you're an actor.
Sorry. I just had to. I had
But
to go
you
there.
can't fake that, and so if you see somebody getting angry or upset, then you're able to actually see who they are as an individual. They drop all curtains, and you're actually able to see who that individual is.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got, then I was able to love that person, because when somebody actually shows who they are, and I thought about it for a while.
So you loved those people that called you like names, and you loved those people that
not
were
the people
mean
who
to
like
you?
call me names and like were mean to me and stuff. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I definitely did.
Yeah.
But I definitely more so loved, like, you know, Chris O'Donnell and Cole McGregor. Like I would piss off Cole so much, get his face turned super red.
We all had. Those were like that was the friend group of yours, you know. Like you spent those time with those people. I remember I only spent that time, like a birthday party with you, with Cole and whoever else was there.
But I don't think that it was for fun. I think that there was a little bit of it was a little bit of entertainment, but I think primarily what it was I tend to think that I don't do things unless I'm there's something to learn or something to be gained from it. And I think that gaining was seeing who they were. Like,
it allowed you to pick and choose your people pretty early, though.
yeah.
You know.
Especially.
It feels nice to be one of those people that got picked.
Yeah.
We always had each other's backs, though.
Yeah. And there's some people who I wouldn't do that with. There's some people who I just wouldn't, because I saw that they were very tender-hearted, and they didn't speak often, and I wanted to just, you know. And then there were sometimes
me who doesn't shut up at all. We were friends, though.
Yeah. But what were you were saying something, and then I just went off on it.
Yeah, no, it was. I think you pretty much kind of wrapped up what I was gonna get to, and you have way more insight on your own self than I do, because you know you've been in your body for your entire life.
Yeah.
So, I just remember that it would be hard for people to be in relationship with you when I was in school with you, because you beat your own drum, and you didn't conform to anything.
Yeah.
And you would say whatever was on your mind, and in that way, you didn't care, but you also didn't really find your filter for a long time. So you weren't always saying the most appropriate things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think could have been I can imagine that it would been hard being bullied like that when you were growing up. And
yeah, because at one point, I remember I ended up going to the academy for a whole semester.
Everybody had it out for you at some point.
Yeah.
And that's just because you were being you. They weren't empathizing or with you at all on that. They weren't thinking well, why is he doing that?
Yeah.
They're just oh, he's doing that again.
Well, yeah, and it comes down to that if I would actually sit down with each one of those people, and I might, but and share with them Cameron and I became best friends after he punched me in the face.
Mm.
I don't think that's by coincidence, and we became probably closer friends after we fought.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is conflict. I think conflict is challenge. It's challenging people.
So I have a really cool metaphor that I like to use that I say...
But before you say it, can you see if I'm in focus? Because I feel
You feel out of focus?
Yeah, I just feel out of focus.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to check to see if you are in, and you are so in focus, my guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just go ahead and close it.
I'm closing that. Yeah, so I have this really cool metaphor that I'm pretty sure that I came up with. And when I say pretty sure, I can't remember reading it anywhere. And it was, I used to write, so I'm going to put a pin. I'm going to park that idea and come right back to it. So I used to write a lot of poetry.
I remember.
Yeah, I lost that book. I know. It was 6 years of poetry that just vanished one day. And it was really stressful for me for a couple of years to go through that. But in that book of poetry...
Did you write your phone number on it or anything?
No.
You should do that with your next journal. Because somebody called me up. I lost mine.
Yeah. I had my name in it, and I went and checked around places where I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
I also that same day lost my personal dictionary because I used to write down a different word every day.
Dude, my senior yearbook, don't know where it's at. If you're watching this and you have my senior yearbook, please let me have it.
Get this guy his yearbook.
I actually spent 5 minutes of writing in other people's senior yearbooks about memories.
Nice. Anyways,
yeah.
And so one of these poems, I wrote poems about everything, but in one of these poems I wrote about friendship.
Yeah. And
just basically relationships in general. You can just kind of chop it down, and at its basic level, it's about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I use this a lot, this metaphor a lot in my job, is that relationships are like muscles, right?
Mm.
How do you build a muscle? You gotta tear it. You gotta tear the muscle. You have to take it to the point. You gotta take that, stretch it to a point where it can't be stretched anymore, and then tear it.
I shared this with my cousin the other day, that same exact.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then you have to put the right things back into it so that it heals correctly.
Yep.
Right? And when you put the right things in there, it heals back. That's a stronger muscle now.
Mm-hmm.
Stronger.
Yeah.
Right? That's my metaphor.
Yeah. And so I think that the way you do that is by
conflict.
Yeah. Disagreeing.
Punching people in the face.
Yeah, which sometimes physical conflict is good conflict.
Yeah.
But, which sucks now because if you get in a fight nowadays and it's 5 days in ISS.
I wouldn't know. I haven't been in high school for a long time.
9-10 years, right?
Something like that. It's different. Different places have different rules about fighting and everything. You can have a friendly scrap. When I was finishing up college, I remember having a friendly scrap or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who challenges you now today? Who's
In what way?
Because well, like in high school, it was me.
Who challenges me now?
Yeah, like I'd always be, whether it'd be just physically like picking on you, and we'd be picking on each other and like making fun of each other, like calling each other the F word, or like just like you know what I mean? Like I think that discomfort from high school. A lot of people ran from that.
Okay.
For me, though, I tried to continue to surround myself. I mean, that's why like my best friend is atheist. Complete,
Opposite of what you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Because you're not atheist.
Don't tell them that.
So who challenges me now?
Yeah.
People. I don't know. People in my everyday life. I don't have one specific person. Yeah, putting my hat on. I don't have one specific person that challenges me directly.
Why not?
Because I'm not really around one specific person all the time.
Oh, your girlfriend.
Yeah. She challenges me to be a better me as much as I try to challenge myself to be a better me.
Yeah, but you're a piece of crap.
Why do you say that?
Because, like, at your core, you're no good dumpster trash.
Are you trying to get a reaction or poke me or something?
No, I'm genuinely saying, like, and that's a core belief that I have, is that deep down that everybody is trash.
Everybody's trash.
Oh, everybody is trash.
Why?
Like,
why is that a belief that you have?
Because how many negative thoughts did you have today?
Do you know how many negative thoughts? How many of your thoughts are negative thoughts throughout the day?
Do I know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm constantly.
There's a study. No, there's a study.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How much?
Do you know this?
Many? Yeah.
Do you know this?
No.
80% of your thoughts.
Really?
Yeah, are negative thoughts.
So
throughout the day, 80% of your thoughts are negative thoughts.
There's objective truth in that we
there's
are all trash on it, and so
I don't know
whenever
it's
you,
negative.
Yeah, well, just whenever you say like she makes me be a better me, like you don't want to be a better you because you suck.
No, I want to be a better me. I want to be the best me I can. Do you know how many thoughts? What percentage of your thoughts that you remember from the day before? How many thoughts roll over?
Less than 1%.
That's a lot.
Really?
90% of your thoughts from the day before, you remember.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you're remembering 80%, if you're remembering 90% of the negative thoughts, of those 80% of thoughts that you had, that's a lot of negativity that you're thinking about every single day.
Ooh.
Right? So when you're saying, like, people are trash, everyone's just trash, because we all think about negative thoughts, I mean, you can train yourself to stop thinking so negatively all the time.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that I don't believe that as, like, like, that's not a negative thought. It's just, by golly, it's just truth. It's just reality.
Why?
Like, we are, if we didn't have the restraints of law, then a lot of people would be shooting up heroin and killing each other. Like, undoubtedly.
Okay.
I mean, why else? I mean, James Madison himself said that because men are not angels, and I'm butchering the quote completely, but men are not angels, and that's why we need to be governed. We need to have a government. And so that's kind of my rebuttal to that, is that that we're not angels. Like,
yeah.
So even if I may be using...
You can train your thoughts to be positive, like it's still not gonna... You still don't think that's gonna help?
Yeah. I don't believe that you can get good by your own will. I think that... And I think you agree, too, that there has to be something outside of you that is can help to conduct... Not to help, but to just... lift your footsteps up and plant them in the right places.
I don't.
No?
I don't believe that there has to be something other than you to help you get to where you want to be. No, not in the slightest. I believe that we control our own destinies.
Okay. So by that same logic, then I can be like, well, when I die, then like I'm going to absolute, perfect, harmonious. That's the thing is. So I guess is that if you were to describe your own personal heaven,
Mm-hmm.
it would probably be a little bit twisted. Wouldn't you think?
Like what kind of twisted?
Like you'd have all the money in the world. That you would have. I mean, like
I can't even fathom
financial-
what my heaven would be. Like I don't even know where to begin. Like I'm like what I even could think my heaven would look like. I can't even think about that because if you're describing like your own heaven, like your own paradise,
Yeah.
it's like everything you've ever want is going to be up there. How can you even fathom that?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though is that and I may have been a little bit harsh by saying trash, but frankly I could probably say worse things. But I think that's kind of and we kind of defined those terms a little bit earlier. But flesh and spirit for me is that like your flesh is like that's what I'm talking about. Is that our flesh, our human nature, if you want to call it that,
Okay.
is no good, no bueno, not you there's no way you're gonna better or worse that, like, unless you believe in a spirit that
Okay.
can alter that. So I'm sure all the Christian YouTubers are going to be like, oh, you said that
Well, I feel like you just went.
yeah.
And so.
Well, I also
again-
believe that, like, and I'm, like, saying a bunch of stuff now just because I feel super comfortable, like, just talking. Like,
Yeah.
It's
don't-
unbelievable how comfortable I feel sharing with you and talking with you. Just because I know it's you've gotten to the point of where you're family to me, and I know that there's nothing that I can say or do that would that would dissolve our relationship.
Yeah.
Just as much as the relationship with my father, my mother, or my
Right.
two sisters.
Right.
So.
So I believe that every single person is in control of their destiny. I believe that everybody has the ability to make their life what they want it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in predestination.
Okay.
And the reason I disagree with you so hardly is because, and I want you to look at this as an objective way.
Okay.
So that I have failed so much in my life.
Yeah.
A lot of failures. Failed many times doing many things.
I've witnessed several of those.
Yeah. And so have you.
Yeah.
Like we live in failure, right?
Sure.
And it's up to us to either sit and wallow in our failure, we get back up and do something about it. And be better and better ourselves through that.
Yeah.
Challenge ourselves through that. Like, you don't always need somebody to challenge you.
Yeah.
Rather than you need to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
To be your best you.
Yeah. And I don't think that I disagree with that. I think it's not necessarily, and it may have sounded contradicting to say that, but I think now that reflecting on how you, what you mean by that, and like your perspective of transitioning to becoming better you, like I understand that. I think where we disagree is how you do that.
Right.
Yeah.
How you better yourself?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Through believing in yourself. Through challenging yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that would be that's a never ending. You're always going to let yourself down.
Sometimes you like make yourself proud. You ever made yourself proud?
Yeah, but
You're always gonna let yourself down. Just like you're always gonna make yourself proud. You're always gonna lie to yourself sometimes, just as you're always gonna tell yourself the truth.
yeah.
You know.
I guess I see kind of like this. It kind of goes back to that question of like who you give credit to. Is that when you make these personal achievements that you say I want to make my bed every single morning.
Yeah.
And you make it every single morning for 6 months, right? And then you take that and you go, like, I did all of this, and you're holding it, and you're like, I did all of this. And I think that's unhealthy. And so for me, it's like to take that, and then like you have to like, you can't put that back into yourself and give yourself credit for doing those things. That you actually have to hand that off, because that's when your ego builds up. That's when pride, which is, I think, the biggest struggle for everybody is pride. And it's because the things and the achievements and the successes and the is that we have it, and we ball it up, and we hold it up, and we're like, this is I did this. Like, look at this painting, look at this project, look at this bed that I made for all these days. Like, look at the schedule that I put together. Like, look at all these things that I've done, and like it just keeps building and building. And I think that to take those and you can't do that. You have to dissolve that somewhere else other than yourself. So your options are kind of limited to giving that to somebody else, like a girlfriend or like a friend, or a mentor. But like, what the hell are they gonna do with it? You know, like, are they then they're gonna be like, thank you, and then like okay, and then like they're gonna like put this, you know, with all the stuff that they're holding on to.
Thanks, yeah, take this. Yeah, you got this. Right.
Thank you so much. I got this. Okay. I got this. Yeah. All these achievements and all these things.
So what I'm saying though is that like our discussion here is like not necessarily how, but like to dial it even deeper, a little bit deeper, is how do you dispose of that pride, that success? How do you dispose of that? And so for me, I would say you dispose of that by giving it to who created everything. And that dissolves.
So that success, that pride,
yes,
you take that and you go, here you go.
Yeah,
right.
Because you know it says that it's very interesting that there's a verse that talks about boasting, which like.
So here's.
Go ahead.
Here's what I do then, with my successes.
Yeah.
With my pride, I take it, and I teach with it.
Yeah.
I give it to others.
Yeah.
I take what I've learned, and I share that.
Yeah.
I take what I'm proud of myself, and I share that.
Yeah.
So that way I can inspire others, or show others how to do things, or inspire them to do things.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because I agree. It's really easy to be super prideful and to have this giant ego.
Yes.
Totally had one. It's huge. Maybe I still do.
This
room is feeling kind of small. But where I'm kind of getting at is that like I see the way that you're doing it and the way that you get rid of that, and you know, I recently helped somebody bow drill their first coal, right, from like fire making bow drill, right, and this was a student who was struggling getting a coal, and they were like trying to figure it out, and I just sat there and I coached them for a little bit, you know, and then like I showed them physically how much down pressure to put. Like they had their hand on top, I could put my hand on top of their hand. Like this is like the pressure we need. This is like the bow strokes that we need. And you know, I framed it as something like we're not even trying to get a coal. We're just trying to practice. Right?
Yeah.
Just practicing. Just take it easy. Take some breaths.
Explain what that is.
Bow drilling?
Yeah.
It's when you take a piece of wood and you carve a little hole in it. You take another piece of wood, a spindle, right? Take a flat piece of wood. I was thought about bow drilling for you. I can show you tomorrow. Anyways, then you have like a rock that you put on the top of the spindle, right? And that is like where it stays in, and that's where you push down, right? Then you have a bow, which looks like a very primitive like bow and arrow bow. Sure. So it's like a piece of wood with a string, right? So you wrap the spindle in the bowstring, okay? And you put pressure on you put down pressure on the rock. It's on the spindle. And you move the bow back and forth, and it rotates the spindle really fast, creates friction and heat, which then like eats away at like the wood from the spindle and from the fireboard. We'll call that baseboard thing the fireboard. And from that friction, heat, and with enough oxygen flow, you can create fire, a coal. You create a coal, and then from that coal, you put that into like a little, what they call a nest. Looks like a bird nest, just this really thin little pieces of like bark and something tinder, you know, and then you blow on that very gently, and you coax it into becoming an actual fire.
Yeah.
Right? So I taught a student how to do all of that.
Yeah.
They knew how to do it, but I just taught them how to actually do it.
Sure.
And, you know, from that, I was sat there, and she had this this like nest in her hand that was like, she was really, really crappy. It wasn't a whole lot of like good nesting. It was really thick pieces, not little thin fines that light easier. So there was some work to be done, right? But she finally got a coal. We were like super excited. Put the coal in the nest, and then I just coaxed her through the whole thing. Just talked her through, coached her through the entire thing, and at the end of it, she was like, "Yes, I made fire. Look what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I made this all myself." So if you taught somebody how to do all of that,
yeah,
and you were right there for half hour,
yeah,
and then they just stand up and like, "Guys, I just made this. It's all me."
yeah,
Would you feel like, dude, like, where's the credit?
yeah,
Would you feel that?
yeah. Oh, definitely.
Not at all. I didn't feel any of that.
Well, that's the thing is I think that's...
Because that's that pride, right?
Yeah.
That's your pride. It's like, but I taught you how to do this. Like, you need to give me credit.
I don't think my spirit would feel that way, but I think my flesh, my human nature would be to
I
say...
was so happy that she made fire. I did not even care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I could see it, you know? And that's why I wanted to, like, bring that up, is because I can see where that ego gets into the part where it can block your other senses away from you.
Sure.
Block your spirit from being part of you, right?
It's crazy that you tell all that, because the whole time I'm thinking about that is that when you said, like, would you be, like, that's how I feel the creator of this world feels about us. Is that we are walking around saying, like, I made this fire.
Made this. Yeah, okay.
Like, I taught somebody how to make fire, or I learned and knew how to do like video editing and setting up cameras and lighting, and I am able to like communicate and speak, and this is me kind of like filling up those jars, and then you have to go somewhere with that. I think that you're confusing knowledge with the burden of pride. But I digress. It's just interesting that you said that, because the one thing that I was thinking about is...
if your creator is up there, and that's how you think he feels, your creator feels.
Yeah. I mean, like
is he the guy that's like, hey, where's the fucking credit? Or is he like, nice, I'm glad you made fire?
Yeah.
Which one?
I think that if you say, like, I made this fire, I did it, yeah. I think that you're bullshitting me to say that there was no, not even like a slight little... I mean, there had to have been an arrow, a fiery arrow that entered, that you just hit with a lightsaber into the woods to save Cameron Taylor's life. And it may not have that you actually took that seed that was coming down to get dropped to get planted, that seed of negativity, of pride. It's not necessarily, but I don't think that you can deny that there was still that seed that was still coming. I mean, it may have been that you go, no,
so
I'm not
if I was teaching her how to bow drill with my full intention of me like getting her a coal, and like me expecting results from it, yeah, totally. I think I would totally feel that. But my whole time that I was there was not for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. It was for her. It was for that other person.
Yeah.
Because I can make fire, and I can be prideful. But I can make my fire. Like, hell yeah, I know how to make fire.
Sure.
It's great. And I just want to teach others how to make fire, right? So if I can teach them how to make fire, that's all I want. Then I feel accomplished in that sense. She made fire. I'm freaking pumped. I'm stoked. She did it all by herself. I was there just the whole time, just talking to her.
So the whole purpose behind the whole entire teaching her to make fire was
For her to be able to make fire.
just for her to make fire.
Yeah, just for her. For me, that's my job.
You don't think that there was something greater to to be able to survive in the wilderness?
It makes me feel good to teach that. It's my job. What?
You don't think that there's something greater, more beautiful than that? Is like now she's able to actually, like, if she was stranded in the woods, then she would be able to make her own fire.
Yeah.
And she'd be able to survive, and like, because that's where my mind goes.
So, like the saying, like, teach a man to fish and he can feed himself or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you give a person a fish. It tastes pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. Great. So you give someone a fish the first time, right? Like, here's how you make fire.
Yeah.
Let's do it together. Let's make a fire. You and me.
Yeah.
Make a fire. It's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, great. And then you teach them how to fish. Teach you how to make fire, right? And then after that, they understand, like, hey, this is good. This tastes good. This fish is delicious.
Yeah.
Making fire is pretty awesome. Now I can make a fire and keep myself warm.
Yeah, it was out. It's okay. That's why we have 3 cameras.
Do we check that one?
No, it's fine. It'll be good for another 30.
And then now we have, now you can make fire, yada yada.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what it's about. It's about teaching them those skills, the wilderness skills. So yes, I feel so much better that I know that that person is out there. That if they ever get lost and stranded, that they know how to make a fire. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the woods. I love teaching people how to survive in the woods.
Yeah.
Primitively.
I would too. If I was...
I've learned...
The thing is, though, with you, though, is I think that you could be bagging groceries at Hy-Vee and you'd still love it.
I don't know, man. I worked lift ops, and I hated it. And that's a pretty easy job. There's no challenge there.
Why'd you hate it?
Because there's no challenge.
Yeah.
Not a challenge. The only challenge I got was when I challenged myself skiing for my break.
Yeah.
That's the only challenge I got at that job.
So, what do you think is the greatest challenge for you?
Learning.
Come on.
Okay. What do you...
You got something better than learn.
The greatest challenge for me?
Very
I do.
well.
I want to learn more.
Yeah.
The more I know, the more powerful I become. I'm going to be Obi-Wan, dude.
Yeah, okay.
You strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can ever imagine.
That's fine. By the way, the way that I replied to that.
By the way.
Yeah. That arrow story that you're wanting to kind of retell.
When we were shooting arrows?
Yeah.
Not we.
When
I was shooting arrows at you and all the other neighborhood kids. Yeah, totally.
What happened? What you said that it happened a little bit differently than you?
No, I didn't say it happened to you.
It was just
the arrows were doled.
Yeah. Okay.
They were practice arrows.
Yes, we want to make that clear. We also don't condone even that. Because that's still.
I don't know.
So those arrows.
There's lessons being learned in that. There's friendship, camaraderie. There is play at its finest.
Yes.
Like when we used to... Do you remember that time we lit off an entire grocery bag full of fireworks?
Oh, no.
You remember that?
No, I remember definitely...
Pretty sure you were at my house when we did that.
Bags of poop on people.
I had so much fireworks, and we just took them across the street on the hill where I would shoot at you guys.
Oh, dude, we used to
we had a whole bag of fireworks.
You remember burning G.O. Joe and
Green Army Men?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, putting little lady fingers next to him,
yeah.
Oh, dude, play, man. It's all about play, having fun, being creative, using your imagination, which is so hard now because there's so many other things that you can have for your imagination now.
At your fingertips.
So many video games now that can that's so much imagine. Oh, it's so cool.
Just this.
Yeah.
That's all I see people doing nowadays.
But yeah, man. I did want to. I remember we talked on the phone.
Hold on, I
brought that up
because
reply
to this text.
You were on. Because I watched the video of Isaac and you.
Mm-hmm.
And that came up, and I was like, "There's a totally dull arrows." Okay. And there was shields involved. Someone had a shield at least to block. And it wasn't like I was running up next to you. It was it was a rainbow. It wasn't a laser.
Yeah, but you gotta understand at that time though, it felt like medieval days.
I think maybe if there was some sort of supervision, it would have gone a little differently.
I don't think that they
Or
would have
like
gone on at all.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, differently.
I'm pretty sure they would have been like, yeah, you guys are done doing this.
But that's what, I don't know. I think that's great that we didn't have that kind of supervision, because that allowed us to, like, understand ourselves more and express.
To fail.
And, well, we didn't fail at that time. No one got hit with an arrow.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember saving Cameron's life, like, straight up. It was
So-
coming right at him.
Yeah, man. How nuts.
Yeah, we were pretty stupid.
How nuts.
Well, did you have fun
With,
this whole conversation?
yeah.
Well, I hope you guys had fun too. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment below if you're
Do that.
listening on the podcast.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Subscribe. Can you do that again so it's on frame with you?
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
3, 2, 1, pose.
Yeah.
Tight. Tight.
So, I'm kind of been like ending on a question.
Okay.
I guess we'll have to say subscribe, like, and post one more time, but it's cool.
Okay.
A question that you have for me.
A question that I have for you, Mr. Samuel.
Even though we pretty much had pretty dang.
Gosh, I know so much. Because I've been there in your life for so long.
Yeah.
Also, I haven't, because we've spent many years apart as well.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite thing about yourself?
Oh boy.
I'm going to make you be prideful of yourself. What is your favorite thing about yourself?
Probably that I have never really stopped seeking truth.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been a time, and if it was, then it was just periodically. It was short, and I was stagnant for a very short period of time. But I feel that a majority of my life I have been seeking truth, trying to die, even whenever it was in high school, making people mad. Like, I was just trying to find truth, like, and that truth is authenticity, and you can get authenticity by just getting somebody ticked off. Or in my days of college and just, like, smoking cigarettes out in the smokers building out there in the back, just to talk to people and to, like, hear their stories. I shared with my cousin the other day that I may speak 90% of the time, but that energy and that when I listen for that 10% of the time, that the loudness and the obnoxiousness of my voice is that intensity is multiplied by 10 when I'm listening for that 10% of the time. I truly, so I guess thank God for my ability to, my gifts, man. Dude, like I wasn't taught how to do any of the photography or the videography. I never went to school for it. Any of the editing, graphic design, I just took like 2 classes on it. But the a lot of it wasn't taught. It was just like a gift that was given to me. And just as I see the gifts that are given to you, and you share those gifts, and like, so I guess my favorite thing about me is that I have etched away at this gem of truth enough to know that it is not me, but it's something working through me. Like, I couldn't... Sam the Sam you know, like from high school, he would never have the patience to sit down for 10 hours at a time, 5 to 10 hours at a time, and sit down and edit through footage of conversation like this.
No way.
The Sam in high school, he would not have the patience that I did setting all of this up. The minimal anger that you saw me setting all of this stuff, like, you knew in high school I would get frustrated with stuff whenever I couldn't do it. And so, I guess that's my favorite thing about me, is that I'm not me. That
Your changes, the way you've changed yourself.
Just the gifts that I've been granted, and that, and the abilities to the virtues, I believe that they're given through, not just by experience, but also through revelation.
Okay.
There was nobody. I don't believe in like Inception and people planting ideas in my mind.
Right. Cool movie.
I believe in revelation. Creator planting ideas in my head. I don't do this. Sam wouldn't do this. Sam wouldn't just get up and drive this far. So, yeah, that got deep. Be sure to subscribe.
Click. Link.
Yeah, and if people want to get in contact with you, got like an email address or something?
For what?
Okay, just comment below if you have questions for CJ then.
Yeah, talk to him. He'll talk to me.
Yeah, if somebody comments on the video, I'm going to be like, yo, CJ, somebody wants to know more about this camp or something.
I have enough spam in my email. I don't like to go through my email so much.
It's been a part of like my testimony thing where somebody wants to share their email and whatever.
Yes, contact Sam. He'll contact me.
Let's have a pseudo hug on camera. Actually, I don't want to give a pseudo hug.
It's so far away.
It's just like
How about this? Is this handshake not good enough for you?
Yeah, could we hold it up so people can see it?
Ta-da!
All right.